You're live. Okay. That hurts so bad.
That's what you got.
Oh. Ow.
That's what you got for being a bitch.
Hey.
Speaking of bitches, Becky's coming back.
Yo, Dexter. Where's she tonight?
I got Jordans on, guys.
Yo, check out those hot
Dude, these are
kicks.
just looking at them
They're real nice.
gives me a boner.
I can see why. I get a lady boner just looking at them.
These are my favorite. These are my favorite in grade school.
Yeah, they're awesome. Now, are they more expensive now than they were in grade school?
Yeah,
Like by a lot?
I think.
Okay.
I can't imagine the kids at public school that had them spent what I spent for these.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they're more expensive now.
Okay.
Inflation.
Yes, inflation.
What?
Intervention.
I think around that time, I have no clue, but I bet they're like $150.
Okay.
In like, I'm talking like 1995
Mm-hmm.
or 96.
Okay.
These were $375.
Holy shit! No kids were paying $375 for
That's what I'm
Jordans back
saying.
in the day. $375.
You can either go to private school or go to public school and get Jordans.
Jordans. It's amazing. Hey, I get it.
Maybe they're $350.
Wait, am I supposed to give like a little like tidbit about what I'm talking about, and then we?
I love them.
So what we're talking about today is the story of an 18-year-old boy who goes for a walk in the woods, and he's never seen alive again. And then, like 7 years later, something mysterious turns up. That's what I'm talking about. That's all you get for right now. And now we're gonna go talk about updates. Jesse, any guesses first?
No.
No idea. The clue I gave you earlier was cabin in the woods. What were you thinking earlier? You said leave it for the podcast. Let's not talk about it now.
I just was busy and didn't want to talk to you.
It's all making sense now.
I don't know. I'm thinking something.
The movie Cabin in the Woods.
No. Something.
Great horror movie. One of my favorites.
It is good. Updates. Becky's coming back in a couple weeks, months.
I don't know.
She'll be back. Yeah, we're back and good as ever.
Old episodes that we haven't published yet that we can publish?
Yeah, I have two.
We should just drop them as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Whenever we're not busy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
maybe we'll drop 4 all at once. Bam, 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 bam.
Patreon. I think we got to redo that Patreon.
We gotta redo the Patreon. We're gonna redo the Patreon.
We should do a Patreon for like a lower one.
Yeah.
So
like
a support one.
Yeah, like just support us. You're not getting anything additional. There's nothing additional you get. Just our love.
We need to get our Patreons up, guys.
Yeah, we need to fix it. We're sorry. We're gonna fix it. We're new to all this. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know. We're trying our best. Other updates. So, as a person who likes to TikTok a lot, do you TikTok a lot? Watch, not do. I mean, I do, but they're never good.
Do I watch it?
Yeah, do you go on TikTok like a lot?
No. A lot?
I mean, before bed, I used to go on Reddit. Then I got bored of Reddit. And then I started going on Instagram. Then I got bored of Instagram. Now I go on TikTok. But now I should probably get rid of all of those things and just like read a book. But I go on TikTok.
Like Chris. Chris reads a lot of books.
Yes, we were talking about this last night. He's hey, if there's any single ladies out there, we got this great guy.
Sounds so creepy.
Chris is never
the
going to listen to
majority
this
of people listening are in like Indiana and Chicago. For some reason.
We'll send Chris your way. He's got a dog. Dog's cute.
He's cool. He's funny. He's easy to get along with too.
Yo, we were rolling last night. I told him the story. I can't say it on this podcast. I told him the story of the untimely passing of a friend that passed away in a very interesting way.
I have no clue what you're talking about. What?
I'll tell you later. Anyway, we were outside.
Oh, yeah.
I told him the story and he got the humor like I got the humor. I've never laughed so hard in my life.
I know, it's a shame.
It is a shame. Don't bring it up on here. Okay. So,
Transition.
So maybe if you're a Patreon, I'll tell the whole story on Patreon, guys. So there are 2 TikTok accounts.
All right, so I've made some TikToks, but only because I was trying to make the video, just to make the video, but then I put it on Instagram.
I make TikToks
Because they're easy to
and
make
they're really bad.
No,
But
but like
they're-
I'll make like a
Video, edit it, and then put it on Instagram.
yeah. When you're saying you make TikToks, are you saying like you'll try to do one of the dances or some shit?
No, just like random. Well,
Well, why are they bad then?
Well, I've done one where I've like done my bottle digging stuff and talked
Oh,
about bottle digging.
That's hard. That is bad.
I told you.
Hey guys.
I have done ones where I've like, the traditional TikTok ones, like, that are like goofy or like you're like lip syncing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not like a dance. I don't have any rhythm. I can't dance. I can dance, but like when I dance, you're like, oh, that's like the whitest white girl dance ever.
Really?
I mean, like, I can't do a coordinated dance, but like I like to dance a lot. But
What
like
do you
I
mean
look bad dancing.
Coordinated dance. You think people
Like I can't do
put
one of
together?
those TikTok ones, like the crazy like everybody. Yeah.
What, like the routines?
I can't do the routines.
If you knew the steps and the movements, you couldn't figure it out, you're saying?
I could do it.
would
But it would
just
take a lot of practice.
Okay.
I can't just watch somebody and be like, all right, do that and then do this and then have it look good immediately. Like I need to like hone the craft.
Okay, so you're not a dancer.
But I love to dance.
Okay.
I just don't look good doing it.
Well, it sounds like you're not bad.
I'm not bad. I really like to dance.
All right, well, give yourself a little credit then.
All right, I'm a great dancer. Check out my TikTok. Okay, so 2 TikTok accounts that I've been following that are really interesting and they kind of go along with what we do. So you've heard of Maura Murray, right?
No.
So Maura Murray is a well-known name in like the true crime genre because she went missing in the year 2004 in New Hampshire. She went to the University of Massachusetts Amherst campus.
That's right. I'm there a lot.
Same with me. And it was weird because
I drive by there a lot.
Yes, I went to the University of Rhode Island. I dated a guy who lived in New Hampshire in and around Concord where this girl went missing. So like all of this happened when I was up there.
Oh wait, I thought you said Massachusetts Amherst.
That's where she went to college. She went missing in New Hampshire, Concord, New Hampshire.
Gotcha. I'm around Amherst a lot.
Okay, in Massachusetts.
Yeah, because my family lives like less than an hour away.
God.
And on the other side is this cool town called Northampton.
Okay. It's really pretty up there.
Oh, it's really pretty. And Northampton's kind of like a Chestnut Hill, but like probably cooler, I guess, at this point. But like it's like all these shops, and so you go past Amherst to go to Northampton.
That's awesome. It's really cute. Like it's a cute little area up there.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, this like case will pop up on like a lot of podcasts I listen to. And it's one of those ones where it's like interesting the first time, but like there's so much hype around it that like I stopped kind of paying attention to it somehow or another.
Yeah.
And it's unsolved. But so her sister, whose name is Julie, has a TikTok called Maura Murray Missing. And it's so interesting. What she's trying to do is she's trying to keep eyes on this case, her sister's case, and keep it in front of people to have like the web sleuths solve this murder. And it's interesting. And maybe I'll do a whole episode on Maura Murray.
Maybe
but
we should try to solve it too.
Yeah, we should try to solve it. But she was like, long story short, she was driving in her car broke down. The police were called. The police, I think there was some kind of interaction where they did talk to her, or some neighbors talked to her, But then by the time the tow truck or the second set of police got there, she was gone and no one's ever seen her again. There's no trace. And her sister talks about some of these leads that like really like weren't in the public media and stuff. It's really interesting.
Interesting.
So follow her Instagram and, you know, hopefully they solve this case because it's crazy. Like the whole thing. I should do it at some point. So her TikTok is definitely worth taking a look at. And the other one is, I love this one. It's this woman who I guess I'm assuming she was a real estate agent or is, and she had a baby. And then she was like, oh, I need to like do something with my time. So I'm going to make this TikTok. And it's, is the real estate worth the hate? And I don't have her link, but it's so fucking funny because what she'll do is she'll have like a house listing and it'll be like this beautiful 4-bedroom house, 2,500 square feet, 3.5 bathrooms on 4.5 acres of land. So she'll tell the real estate listing and then she'll tell what fucking tragic scenario happened in the house. So like she'll do like Jeffrey Dahmer's parents' house or his house or the Amityville horror house.
I heard of this one.
Yes. And
That's
because I
cool.
told you about the one in Schurz in Manayunk.
Yes.
And so she'll do hauntings, she'll do brutal murders, this, that, another thing. And then she'll at the end, she'll be like, do I want to buy the house? Would I buy the house? And the murder happened in the shed. The house is great. It's worth the cost. Yeah, I'd buy the house. So it's super interesting. And I really like her. So you guys should go check it out because it's fucking hilarious.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
That one's so good. It's so good. But those were 2 little things I wanted to talk about. Those were all my updates.
Nice.
Do we have any like true crime stuff that we were following before that we didn't update people on? Maddux, but
honestly, I don't remember.
Talked about that. Gabby, but we talked about that. Oh, another interesting thing that's just like in the public know right now, which I also found this out because of TikTok, because this is how I find my news out nowadays. Interesting thing about this Russia-Ukraine thing. So
what's going on with that?
With like how Russia needed to get into Ukraine, one of their main
Russia
stop
got into Ukraine.
Stop. So one of the main ways that they were getting in was through Chernobyl. And the Black Forest, it's either the Black or the Red Forest, I forget how they refer to it, is the forest that surrounds Chernobyl, which is all super radioactive. As long as things are not disturbed, the radioactive levels stay normal. These young soldiers, half of them didn't know, like when they were interviewed, they don't know what like Chernobyl even is. And that goes to show how like communists, I guess, like controlled their educational system is.
Yeah.
Because Putin and all of their troops had them digging trenches in the Red Forest or Black Forest, whatever it is. And so they disturbed all this earth. And like in the month that they've been there, like all of these soldiers have been getting like sick from radiation poisoning. Good, because fuck them, because Russia is doing horrible things to Ukraine. But like I just thought it was so interesting that like how dumb are you? Like you're going to send people through a radioactive community or the place, have them dig, and now they all have whatever it's
Red Forest.
Red Forest. Isn't that kind of interesting and crazy? And Russia sucks. So fuck Russia and fight hard Ukraine.
Unprotected Russian soldiers disturbed radioactive dust in Chernobyl's Red Forest. They dug trenches 12 hours ago.
That was posted 12 hours ago?
Drone footage, 13 hours ago. Drone footage shows Russian trenches dug near Chernobyl may have led to radiation poisoning. Cray. What you got for us today?
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about Joshua Vernon Maddux. This happened in May of 2008. This guy, he's 18 years old. He leaves his house to go for a walk. He's like a huge nature lover. There's like nothing out of the usual, and he was never seen again. So, actually, let me skip that one. I'm
Nothing
good
out of
over
the
this.
usual.
Ordinary. I don't know. I
Yeah.
said the thing wrong. So, all right, I'm gonna kind of like skip to like I'm gonna give you a full synopsis, and then we're gonna break it down a little bit.
Break it down.
So, 7 years later, August of 2015, less than a mile away from his house, a property developer, Chuck Murphy, was demoing an old cabin that was in the woods because they were going to make property like 32 home, like new home. What are they called? Construction site. Anyway, the cabin had been there for years. It hadn't been used in a really long time. The inside was like all damp and rotten. They were working to demolish the chimney, and when they were doing that, inside the chimney, they found a mummified body.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And
Wait a second.
you've heard of it. It's like a very interesting case.
Wait a second. Did you do this story already?
No, but I told you another story. Can you imagine if I did this story already? No, I did the catacombs in
No.
Ukraine.
No.
I did another one. I talked about the Nutty Putty
Wait,
cave
I know
system.
this story, and I think I just listened to it like within the last couple weeks.
Oh, really?
Like I know the whole story.
That's so interesting. All right, well, good. You can help chime in. Well, there's another boy that was found inside of a chimney recently.
Wait. Is the story about him being found in a chimney? I'm confused now.
Yeah. So what happens is this guy,
And they think someone put him in there.
yeah, because at first they ruled it. You know what? This is also very reminiscent of.
No,
the
I know
young
that.
boy wrapped up in the mat in the gym.
No, I know. But this
Kendrick.
this one
his name was.
specifically, I do remember that there's like another guy involved,
Yes.
and yeah, at first I thought it was an act or like something like he didn't help him out, or he told him to go down there, or he put him down there, but then he was like stuck or something or whatever.
Oh, that's interesting. No, not all of that. But there's another guy involved at the end and during like like we'll get into it.
Okay.
But yeah, now I'm interested about yours. Which could be the same exact
No,
thing.
I think it's the same thing. I'm just confusing it then.
Okay, the interesting thing about this, and this might be able to help clarify if we're talking about the same thing. He was found inside the chimney in his mummified body. Now, what was really interesting is that he was upside down in the
Right.
chimney.
Yeah.
His knees were above his head. He only had a shirt on. He had no shoes, no socks, no pants, no underwear, nothing else. And he was upside down. Interesting, right?
Did the other guy make him go in like that?
No, you don't know. It's unsolved. This is an unsolved case.
Okay.
There's another guy involved where
I
there's
thought the other guy, like-
conspiracies around it.
That what?
There's conspiracies around what happened, but he didn't. It's not confirmed that he made him go in there.
Okay.
And that's my case. Have a good one, guys.
That's another case of good, bad murder.
Since Jesse just ruined the whole case. No, I'm just kidding. I told you to guess. Okay. So, Joshua Maddux, born March 9th, 1990. He's from Woodland Park. It's a town of like 8,000 people right in the Pike National Forest in Colorado. His parents were divorced, and Josh lived with his father and his two sisters, Kate and Ruth. So he was like a hippie Colorado dude, long hair, 6 feet tall, blonde, like weighed 150. He had like a real like carefree attitude, loved music, spending time, probably like did a lot of shrooms, smoked some weed, who knows? Had a good
Probably
time.
did a lot of
Who knows? He was really good in school, bright student, was really liked. Now, this is kind of tragic because 2 years before his disappearance, on June 1st, 2006, it was a week before his high school graduation, his older brother, Zachary, who was 18. So it was a week before Zachary's graduation. He committed suicide. And he was suffering from like really severe depression. That's really tragic. And Josh didn't take it well, clearly.
Yeah.
Who would take something like that well?
Nobody.
Nobody. Not a single person. But like he didn't take it well, but like he, you know, he had been doing better. Like, so he got over it, or like learned to live with it, not got over it. You know what I mean?
Mom, stop telling me about it. I got math homework. Yeah.
So horrible.
I got it. He's not coming home.
So bad. All right, so now we're going to May 8th. Josh leaves his house. He tells his sister Kate he's going on a walk. He would go hiking alone all the time, so this was not abnormal. So there was no like red flags or anything. When he failed to return home that evening, his like family, they did get worried because like he was usually really responsible. I love how he dropped it. He was usually really responsible. So they knew that something was going wrong. So 5 days after he disappeared, his father reported him missing to the police, which seems like a kind of a long time. 5 days. I mean,
yeah,
really long time. But I mean, I'm sure they had their reasons. I think they were saying that like he was 18. Technically he could have left if he wanted to, this, that, and other thing. So they like before they called the police, they called all of his friends, they called like a lot of other people. Nobody had seen him. Not a single person had reported seeing him that day.
They should have reported it earlier. They might have been able to save him.
Well, yeah, 5 days. I mean, at that point, if he's stuck in
like
a chimney,
after a day, or if they went looking.
Yeah, because it was a mile from the house. But who knows what was going through their heads? Nobody knows how you're going to react in a situation like that.
I will say, be stuck upside down is different than being stuck right side up. Because upside down, you probably only have a certain amount of time before the blood rushes to your head.
Yes, you can die of suffocation.
Like in a couple of hours.
Yeah, you can probably die of dehydration, hypothermia. They're in Colorado. There's like a lot of ways, exposure, whatever those things are.
They thought someone killed him and put him in there.
So there is a conspiracy or theory on that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely a theory on that. So like the neighborhood family, everybody was searching for him.
And nobody went to that house?
I think they searched the area, but there was nothing that led them to believe or look in the chimney. So they would have had no idea. Like nobody had any idea. And there was no tips at all either. His sister like said that she had hoped that he simply like just left town to go play music or like do his thing. Like so they were like hoping the best.
They weren't hoping the worst. His family doesn't care about each other.
She said that like she was expecting him to just walk in the door one day, like years later with like a wife and kids to like meet the grandparents. So like there was nothing that ever led them to believe that he like had committed suicide or did anything like that.
Okay.
So now let's go back to 2015. Chuck Murphy, that's the property developer guy, or builder. He was demoing this old cabin in the woods on Meadowlark Lane, on a large area of land surrounded by a lot of like pine trees. This guy had originally purchased the cabin in the 1950s. It was formerly the homestead of the Thunderhead Ranch on Rampant Range Road in Parkland Park's north side. It's like it was an infamous like dining, drinking, and gambling complex owned by Big Bert Burnstorm. These seem like made up names, don't they?
Yeah.
In the 1930s and 1950s. He had came to America from Sweden in 1912 and ran the Thunderhead Inn as a dining and drinking establishment after the end of Prohibition. And he also used the ranch as an illegal gambling and prostitution den.
Wait, what town was this in?
Hold on.
Colorado.
Man, you're gonna make me lose my spot by going back up here.
You know what? I don't give a shit. Well, I was trying to Google it. I was interested in.
Oh, here we go. Teller County, Colorado. Teller County in Pike National Forest. Oh, Woodland Park.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, Woodland Park. Now I can't find where this is. This is Jesse's fault, everybody.
What was the address?
I don't fucking know. There's no address. Just
All right, fine.
Google it. Okay. Okay, here we go. So the land or this ranch was used as an illegal gambling and prostitution den. And eventually this guy was arrested by the FBI. And they found him not guilty of, all this illegal stuff that he was doing on this ranch. So the cabin was on this property and it hadn't been used for like over a decade.
What was the address of the cabin?
123
Cabin.
Le Mans, France.
Le Mans, France.
In Le Mans, France.
Le Mans, France. 123 Le Mans, France. Le Mans Street.
Yeah, so cabin fallen into a state of despair. Okay, so that's when like this guy Chuck decided that he's just gonna knock this cabin down. He sold the land. He wants it to be developed, and he wants to make some money off of it.
My bad. What's his name again? Chuck what?
Chuck. I don't know.
I need to find
Chuck Murphy. Chuck Murphy.
Right.
Can you just Google the dude's name? Can you put in Joshua Vernon Maddux?
Well, I didn't know his name either. I didn't want to go back because then you're gonna be like, "Are you listening to anything I'm saying?"
So
and the answer was,
Google.
"Oh, I found it. I found it."
Yeah, Joshua Vernon Maddux, and you can see the cabin.
Yeah, I remember his picture. This is a story I'm thinking of for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, okay.
Sorry.
So in 2015, demo started on this cabin or on this property.
It's a cool little cabin.
Chuck's brother lived in the cabin until 2005, but had clearly moved out, and it became a storage facility. They nobody really went there ever. They stored some stuff there. It was probably old and bad. Animals had been a problem. So there was a noticeable stench when Chuck came to the cabin in August before they demoed it, but he didn't think anything weird because animals had gotten in there and had sat abandoned for 10 years.
Yeah.
So the workers, as they were taking down everything, first, you probably know this because you work construction jobs. They go in and whatever metal that they can, they'll pull the metal first because they're going to scrap it. And then they're going to start knocking down everything else. So, and I think they started to dismantle the chimney because I think they were going to probably try to save some of the stone.
Okay.
So they're dismantling it.
It'd be crazy to be taking something apart. Man, we're going to make this such a cool house, listening to AC/DC. And then all of a sudden, there's just a body behind some bricks.
Insane. I feel like that would be the scariest thing ever.
Okay,
Yeah.
go on.
So they were using the excavator. I'm saying that wrong, but whatever.
Excavator.
Like how Jesse said it.
Escalator.
Yep. So
a couple escalators over there.
Chuck was the one that made the discovery. Cramped into the fetal position with his legs above his head. The police, they called the police, who arrived, and the county coroner came. And with the help of dental records, they positively identified the body to be that of Joshua Maddux. So the family was informed about the discovery of the body. His sister said the situation really doesn't make any sense at all. They're really expecting him to be anywhere in the world but here. The only thing that they figured is that he, being an 18-year-old kid, was trying to check the cabin out. It had been abandoned for a long time, and a horrible accident occurred. So his family thought that too. They're how the fuck could something like this happen?
It gives me anxiety just thinking about it. I'm freaking out.
Well, yeah, because you get claustrophobic, and can you imagine the feeling of being? That's what leads
I don't
me
want
to
talk
believe.
About it.
It leads me to believe he was dead first, but we'll get into that. So
that's what I. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just like the Kendrick case. I think
I know.
Yeah.
That fucking FBI kid.
Yeah, the dad or whoever.
I think the kid had something to do with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the cabin was only like 2 blocks away from the Maddux family home. Now the searches for Josh had overlooked the building. Oh, so they didn't even come close to the building during the searches. Um, so there hadn't been any sign of life, and there's no reason to check the chimney. Clearly, I mean, who's going to check the chimney? Who's going to think a body's in the chimney?
Yeah.
Um, and then Chuck, the guy who owned the cabin, said that he rarely had visited the cabin to begin with. He did an occasional check-in, but like he never noticed anything like out of the ordinary. Um, the cabin itself stood on like a large plot of land surrounded by like tall trees. It was about 50 feet from the road. There were no adjacent homes. So like even if like Josh was alive in the chimney, like calling for help, nobody could have heard him. He was way too far away from anybody. So
I hate it.
I know all of it just is so horrible. So there was no evidence of drugs in Josh's system. The hard tissue showed no signs of trauma. There were no broken bones, no knife marks. There was no bullet holes. There is so far no answers to like a number of things. It like the case itself has been ruled like super confusing. It was, and in this case, it wouldn't have been like an instant death. His matter of death has been like speculated a lot. He could have starved to death, but that takes like a really long time, like a couple weeks. So like then you go down the chain. There's dehydration, and that will take a few days. Hypothermia, and that could have happened pretty quickly, like a day or two. And one of those could have been the main reason. It's it can get really cold in Colorado at night. I think they did research in May between May 8th and 10th of 2018. The temperature dropped to a high of 20s. So like he's could have really easily frozen to death in this chimney. So the ruling was made that it was an accidental death. It was speculated that Josh had climbed into the chimney and became stuck in the brickwork. The position like that Josh was in the chimney appeared to have been a voluntary act in order to gain access. And they concluded that the most likely cause of death was hypothermia. Now, there was a lot of discrepancies with the coroner's case. Many locals said that they it didn't make sense. Chuck, he also, the guy who owned the property, he questioned the conclusion of like the accidental death. The building had been built 25 years before, and during its construction, it had been fitted with a thick wire mesh hung from steel hooks used to keep animals and like other debris out of the chimney. So it would have been like really difficult for him to remove this wire mesh unless it had like rotted away by like corrosion and rust. So it could have possibly have been easy to do that if that happened. But the interesting thing is,
why was it blocked at the bottom?
No, it wasn't the bottom. It was
wasn't
the
blocked
top.
at all.
So
He just couldn't get down to the bottom.
Yeah, so they're saying that this wire mesh, this guy who owned the
No,
building,
at the top. I got
yeah,
you.
but
Like they put it up specifically just.
If you look at the pictures of how a
can't anymore. I was
chimney
gonna use
is like constructed, it has this weird bend to it. So like it's not easy to climb down a chimney. It's not a straight chute.
I gotcha.
There's like a bend to it. So like yeah, I'm sure somebody could shimmy down there, but it wouldn't be easy. But they're saying this wire mesh, they in all the crime scene photos, they didn't see the wire mesh. So they're saying it could have been gone. Oh, but also these guys doing this demo had no idea this was going to be a crime scene. So they could have taken this wire mesh off when they were scrapping everything and not remembered. So like,
yeah,
people don't know.
Definitely. I always find it weird when people can't remember shit like that.
Okay, I used to, but okay, I remember this one story.
Hey, did you rip metal off the top part or not?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, like, just did you? Because that's the only place metal would be. You'd have to climb up on the roof, stand on the peak, and rip it off. Did you do that?
Yeah, that would be memorable.
Did you do all that or no? Did you put up a ladder or no?
Yeah. See, I remember. I'm sorry, I don't mean to go. I remember when I used to work at Plato's Closet years ago. I was checking somebody out, and we had suspicion that she had robbed us or like taken some, stolen. So
Shoplifter.
yeah, so like the owner called the police, and when the police got there, they're like, they came to me because I checked her out, and they're like, give us a description. I had just seen her moments before, and I was like, oh, blonde, my height, maybe green eyes, like probably probably looks a lot like me. They were like, they they looked at the surveillance video. She was like short, stocky, purple hair. like, my description was so
A little chubby
off.
purple hair girl.
Yes, I could not fucking remember. So like that.
You were trying to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it looks just like me.
Like me.
So who knows? People's short-term memories are not good. Okay. So yeah, we talked about the scrapping of stuff. So the metal mesh had significance, but they couldn't figure anything out from that. So this like rebar wire mesh caused a lot of doubt in people's head. Now, this is interesting too, because
Tell me.
so there was a large wooden breakfast bar that had been like built onto the wall, and somebody had torn it from the wall in the kitchen, dragged it over to the chimney, and blocked the chimney from
Yes.
the inside.
That's what I remember. So, something was blocking it.
Yes, that was it.
Wait, what was it?
It was like a large built-in cabinet for like a breakfast bar that was like nailed to the fucking wall where somebody had pulled it off.
Yeah.
And put it in front of the chimney. So like somebody had to manually do that.
Yeah.
It was weird. So people thought that was really suspicious. So Josh's body had also been found in the fetal position with his legs above his head, and it says disjointed from his torso. I don't know what that means. So in order to have gotten into such a position, he would have had to have entered the chimney head first.
Right.
And they're saying that that would be like a very like unusual position for like somebody to like climb into something. But then again, like maybe not. I don't know. But they're saying that's
Definitely.
weird. Weird, yeah. Yeah, because why would you do that? Yeah, you would go feet first. I would not go head
Because
first.
then you could, I mean, I would never even be doing that, but if you wanted, at least you could try to get back up. Out.
Yeah. Yeah, so that makes more sense.
You can like shimmy back out.
Yeah.
That's why that I think someone did it.
I think somebody did it too. And okay, this is really fucking weird too. So Josh's body had been found only wearing a thin flannel shirt. That's it. Nothing else. No underwear, no pants, no socks, no shoes. Now, what's interesting is inside the cabin, folded up, they found pants, socks, and shoes. And they were confirmed that they were his. So his clothing's inside the house, folded up. The breakfast bar's pushed in front of the fireplace. He's upside down in the fetal position. How is that a fucking accident?
But why would he take his clothes off? Like I'm thinking like to shimmy a little, but why would you be naked to shimmy down some bricks?
There's something in here. I think it's in this article where one of his friends was like, why would he take his pants off and have his dick slapping against the stone wall to get into a chimney? Like, not happening. Like, does not make sense.
But so why did some other guy take his pants off?
I don't know. So
dump them up there.
Yeah, so there is some speculation about this one guy, and we're gonna go into it. And it kind of makes sense when you hear about it, but like the motive doesn't. There's no motive.
I remember thinking it was this guy.
I think it's this guy too. So an advised autopsy report said that the cause of death was accidental death, murder, or undetermined causes.
Maybe he did it to himself.
It's just weird that the clothes is inside and the thing's blocked.
Maybe he did that and it was a suicide. So
one of these guys said, there's no way that a guy crawled inside the chimney with that steel webbing. He didn't come down the chimney. And that was the guy who owned the property. He remained convinced that Josh's death was no accident. He was only wearing a flannel shirt, no pants, no socks, no shoes.
Well, he didn't climb up the chimney backwards.
Yep, exactly. They said it was ridiculous to think that the teen stripped down to his shirt, climbed up the roof and of the chimney, climbed up the roof, and then into the chimney, slid down, knowing he'd be trapped. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Do you think he was on something?
They said they didn't find any drugs in his system, but
But it was like years later.
exactly. So who knows?
So what drugs?
They didn't find any drugs in his system.
But like acid?
Yeah, I mean,
Does
there's
acid would acid show up like 7 years later?
it's a good question. I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, so we're at the theory stage. So police received several anonymous tips suggesting of a couple people or a person who had bragged about killing Josh. So this is the guy we're talking about. One of the suspects is now currently incarcerated in Texas, and had done previous time in Seattle and Portland prisons for like a long violent crime history. Okay, so one tip off had informed the police that this man had been seen with Josh. When speaking with the man, they can't give him like times or specifics to generate like what happened because it was 7 years ago, but like people had reported seeing this person with Josh, like the last known person to see him before he got found in this chimney years
Right.
later. So there was an interesting Reddit post in 2015. It gave the name of a suspect that they mentioned. The post said, "I went to high school with this skinny, dorky hippie named Andy who played guitar in a band. I was never good friends with him or anything, but a year or so after I graduated, one of my good friends, Josh, started hanging out with him, and then he went missing." So referring to Josh Maddux. Turns out that in addition to becoming a lot scarier looking, Andy had indeed headed down to New Mexico, where he found himself shooting the shit with the caretaker of a disabled guy and got invited over to their apartment. The caretaker takes a shower, and when he comes back, the disabled guy is stabbed to death and Andy's gone. When Andy got arrested, he also claimed to have killed a woman in Taos. I'm going to say that wrong. Taos, thank you. Where's that at?
Arizona.
Taos, and stuffed her body into a barrel. The cops had
Wait. Taos is in New Mexico.
Okay. I couldn't even pronounce it, so you're one step ahead of me. The cops had indeed found a woman stuffed in a barrel in Taos, but already had somebody in custody for it and decided to stick with that guy instead of this guy, Andy. Years later, he had found out that the caretaker had died in a bar fight, and without him, the cops didn't have much to go on for evidence. And so that case was somehow dropped. So this guy, Andy, got away. So several of like their friends went to the police saying, "Yo, this guy Josh went missing. The last person who had seen him alive is this guy Andy, who's like a murderer. You should check him out." And so like despite a fair amount of pestering, nothing really came of it. The cops kind of like, ignored the phone calls, ignored the tips. They actually accidentally canceled a bulletin on Josh because they said that no, this was before they found the body. They had believed that he was alive and well and living in the next town over. So the cops kind of dropped the ball on this a little bit. But during this time, he was actually in the chimney of the cabin 2 blocks away from his parents' house. So then it talks about this, and this Reddit post, it says the coroner said the body had been there for about 7 years. It was ruled a death, an accidental death, concluding that Josh had probably climbed down the chimney in an attempt to break into the house and gotten stuck, which, given the age of the corpse, doesn't seem overly ridiculous, except for the fact that in addition to Josh having last been seen with Andy immediately before his stabbing spree, people called in to report having heard rumors that Andy was bragging about having put Josh in a hole.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yes. And so somebody, and this is again in this Reddit post, somebody had ripped a heavy bar off the wall in the kitchen and propped it against the fireplace.
Right.
Or the fact that Josh's stuff had already been inside the cabin, meaning he had already broken in and would have had to lock himself out to have gotten to go for the lock himself out to have to go for the chimney. And then he might have noticed that either the flue or the big bar would have prevented him from getting in through the fireplace. Or the fact that when he was found, Josh's knees were above his head, which sounds to me like he would have to go in head first. Disclaimer, not an expert at all. And this is where it says, or maybe the fact that Josh was barefoot and naked from the waist down. Just my opinion, but I don't care who you are. I wouldn't try to climb headfirst into a chimney via a hole rusted through with a metal grate with your dick hanging out. That's where I remember the dick part. So, and then it says, this is all this Reddit post still. As far as I can tell, nobody even bothered to call Andy to ask if he knew anything. By the way, from what I hear, Andy's still out and about doing his thing when he's not in the mental hospital.
He's in a mental hospital.
Yes. All I'm saying is I wish they had done some police shit. Open up an investigation, try to track down some leads, interview some folks who had been calling in tips for the last 7 years, maybe check for some semen or something. I don't know. Just don't call it an accident. Andy's full name is Andrew Richard Newman. He was arrested on suspicion of a fatal stabbing in New Mexico and is currently serving time right now. There's a little bit more. Chuck Murphy, the owner of the cabin, said it's a real tragic case, horrible story, conundrum. All I know is he did not go down that chimney. He got into the fireplace and went up. So because of the metal grating, I guess. So this is the owner of the cabin saying that. So he's saying that there's probably foul play. So that's what he means by that. But why? I think it will remain a mystery. One of the sad things about the story, the cases.
Well, I will say it would make sense if they snuck in and I'm just saying, let's just say Andy killed him. He's not going to then go take him up to the top of the roof where he could be seen again. And also that's very hard. If you think about it, you killed someone, you would put them, and he said, I put them in a hole. You put them up in there and then go grab something and cover it.
Yeah.
It's like you're covering the part that you put them into.
Yep. That's what I think. I think that this guy, Andy, killed him for whatever reason.
And why he was naked, did it have something to do with, were they doing some like stuff with each other, or was he tricking them? Or was Josh gay, or not sure?
Maybe.
And then Andy was just doing it and then strangled him.
Yeah. Any of those
or
things.
Just beat him or something and then put him up there.
Or he killed him and then was like, ooh, let me try to make this look suspicious even more. I'm going to throw the cops off even more and just take his pants off. You know, people do weird shit like that all the time. They think they're covering up their tracks. There was a podcast I was listening to the other day where the kid murdered his parents or caretakers, and he was like, yeah, I watch a lot of cold case files. So he's like, I really wanted my mom to be close to my dad so her DNA can get in between his fingers so the police think it's him that killed her, not me. Like, people do weird fucking shit.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so some of the things, several questions that come to mind. The rebar in the chimney would have prevented the entry of anyone unless it was
rebar?
Rebar, it's saying here. The rebar in the chimney would have prevented the entry of anyone unless it really was removed prior to the demolition or rusted away, as suggested by the coroner. Next question.
It probably wouldn't have rusted away in that amount of time.
I don't think so.
And if it's rebar, it's in the cement, it's bent, or like however they put it in. Maybe they just put it straight across. You can't. It's not like just a metal grate where you could. It's not like metal lath, like where you could just maybe like fuck with it and rip it or cut it out. Yeah, you're not cutting rebar out. Sounds like you just put them in the chimney.
I think you just put them in the chimney. Yeah, the other things we're talking about, like why were his clothes removed and why was the breakfast bar moved?
Why were his clothes folded up like that?
That's the weird thing. That's like one of these weird perplexing parts of the story where like nobody fucking knows.
Do you think that was a place they like hung out?
I would think that their friends would have talked about that and been like, oh, hey, let's go check the cabin where we all go smoke weed, you know, or do whatever.
Why is that bar in front of the chimney?
Yeah. Like you would think over that course of time, like something would have came and popped up.
I was gonna say, my friend Sarah lived in Taos, New Mexico, and she said it was very. Some of those towns out there, including like, there's not a lot of, well, depending where you're at in it, but it's kind of like when she lived out there, she didn't have like running water. It's like a different setup out there, and it's very like, what's the right word? Vagabond. Like, people are
Oh,
like are
yes.
transients, like coming and going, and shit happens, and people go missing, and
Mm-hmm.
people were here for a couple weeks, and then you didn't see them again, and then it's like, we don't know what happened to them. Did they go somewhere else? Are they just missing in the mountains?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's some weird shit out there.
Probably.
Like that, like I'm saying, that dude was hanging out in that area, maybe just killing people.
Probably. He's probably a serial killer. I mean, there was 2 other people that he supposedly killed. He stabbed somebody to death and then killed that girl.
I think it was him.
I think it was him too.
What do you guys think? Let us know.
Write a review right on here. That's it.
That's a podcast.
That's the. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a podcast.
That's a podcast. Yeah.
That's perfect.
That's a podcast.
Who knows? Maybe by the next time we're here, Becky will be recording with us.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either. Any other update?
No. None.
I got nothing.
Should
All
I,
right, that's a podcast.
Should I call Becky?
Oh yeah, let's call her really quick. She's not gonna pick up.
She picks up when I call her.
Maybe.
We'll call her real quick. Sorry, guys. You have to wait and see. We have to see if she's there. Hit us up on Instagram. Let us know if you like when we do this kind of stuff.
It's probably gonna be a million people saying "fuck no." It's so annoying. Told you she wasn't gonna pick up.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Becky, you son of a bitch. Where are you? We need you for the podcast. Come back. Bye.
Love you.
Bye. All right, that's a podcast. Join us next time for another podcast.
It's perfect. That's a perfect sign off. Bye.